All right, guys. Well, I'm going to start. And as I said before, feel free at any moment to write things in the chat. I'll try to answer if I can in the moment. If not, I'll answer them a bit later. Any questions that you have. And at the end, I'll open it up for questions as well. I have put in the chat, you guys can probably see at the very beginning, a little bit of a feedback form, a Google form. So at the end of the webinar, we'd love to have your feedback. So I'll remind you again, but at the very end, if you want to go into that Google form and give us some feedback, that would be fantastic. All right, so I can, so we can, see what areas we can improve on, or what different things we can do in the future. Okay. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce myself. So as you can see probably in the chat, my name is Michael. I'm one of the directors of studies at Aztecs, and I'm also a teacher. Okay, I've been in Spain for 11 years now. It's been 11, yeah, last week officially it was 11 years. So I've officially been a teacher for 11 years, all right? So I've seen a lot of different things. I come from Missouri, all right, the state of Missouri in the United States, and from a very small town, okay? The town is called Mary's Home, all right? And what you guys see behind me is a picture from my farm, or my parents' farm, all right? So I thought it was a nice, beautiful, sunny day image of, I think this was last summer. Yeah, it was last summer when I was home visiting, I took this picture. So, well, to take our minds off of our offices, or our minds off of our bedrooms or our living rooms or wherever we're working from, I've included this picture. Okay, so today, the main topic of our webinar is vowel sounds. Okay, so for me, vowel sounds I think are probably one of the most difficult sounds to make in the language, and they're sounds that can really make or break what you want to say. Okay, so if you're pronouncing something with an incorrect vowel sound, your message might not come across as clearly as you want it to. Okay, so today I've got a few objectives for you guys. All right, I would like you guys to be able to differentiate a few vowel sounds. So short vowel sounds or long vowel sounds. That's one thing I want you guys to be able to do at the end of the session. I want to teach you kind of what vowel sounds are and how the vowel sounds are made. Okay, from well, looking at a vowel chart, which we'll see a bit later. Okay, we're going to talk about monophthongs, diphthongs, and the famous Schwa sound. Okay. Before we get into that, I want to go through kind of the basics with you guys, okay? So what is an IPA, or what is the IPA? I have here that the IPA is a beer, but today we're not going to talk about the beer, okay? We're going to talk about a different type of IPA. Does anybody know what the IPA stands for? You guys can write it in the chat if you do. Does anybody know what IPA stands for? Not the India Pale Ale, which is the beer. It's not a sound, it's a mixture of sounds. It's actually an acronym, IPA. Anybody else? I'm sure you guys have probably seen it before in your English classes. It's the International Phonetic Alphabet, okay? This alphabet takes in all of the sounds for every language in the world, actually, okay? It takes in what I have here for you guys is the IPA for the English language, okay? So you guys can see the International Phonetic Alphabet for the English language, which differentiates depending on which accent you speak. Today I'm mostly going to talk about the American accent because I'm American and that's the one that I'm familiar with, but I will teach some things about the British accent that are particular and different, so you guys are able to differentiate. Some of you probably speak more British English, and some of you probably speak more of an American English, okay? So that's something that I really want to go over with you today, okay? All right, so in addition to the IPA chart, okay, we have the vowel diagram, all right? And this diagram looks kind of strange. It's this odd shape, okay? And what the shape is supposed to be mimicking is the mouth, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of show you guys a little bit here, all right? What, you know, if we see here, this is my mouth, okay? And my tongue, obviously, in my mouth. And we have the different parts, okay? So we've got more of a closed sound, which is the top of your mouth, okay? We've got a mid sound and a sound at the bottom, okay, which is more of an open sound. So closed, mid, and open at the bottom. That depends on your jaw dropping, okay? So if you see when I make these sounds, my jaw will drop depending on the sounds. I'll give you guys more detail on that a bit later, okay? And then you have sounds that are in the back of your mouth, okay, or in the front of your mouth, okay? So we're gonna kind of look at all of that, and I wanna give you guys just a really good overview of what this is, okay? We could talk about this for days, I'm sure, but I want to give you guys the overview so you have the tools that you need to be able to pronounce these vowel sounds correctly, all right, in your homes, all right? And before we really get started with this, anytime I pronounce a vowel, okay, I encourage you guys, with your microphones still off, okay, to make those pronunciations at home, all right? And I'm even going to ask you, I can't hear you, even though obviously I can't hear you, we can't all be doing that, but I really want to encourage you, even if you're around people, to make those vowel sounds, okay? I think learning pronunciation, we have to kind of be a bit silly sometimes, and we have to accept that we might sound funny, but it really helps to repeat these vowel sounds and to kind of pay attention to where our tongue is placed in our mouths, and where the sound is coming from. If it's coming from the back, the front, if it's a closed sound or an open sound, okay? So when we look at the vowel diagrams for English and Spanish, they're quite different. Spanish is unique because it uses the 5 main vowels, and you also have many diphthongs, and that's how you mix a lot of the sounds. But for some reason, the English language, we're more complex with our vowels, and this can cause a lot of confusion. And that's another reason I want to really go over these sounds with you guys. So all of these sounds are used in one or more of the accents of the English language. There are a few that I don't personally use in American English. There's one sound at the center and the top. It looks like a little I with a cross through it, which is an interesting sound. I don't know why it's here. We don't use it in American English, and I can't seem to have heard it in British English, but they use it in Romania. And just a little anecdote, when I was studying Romanian, I studied Romanian one summer. I went to Romania and I learned it, and I can remember making this sound. It's a central sound, and it's a very closed sound, so your mouth is closed, and it's very And so I can remember making this sound at my house, and my roommates, I thought I was alone at the house, and a couple of my roommates had arrived. And they said, what are you doing? It was kind of embarrassing, but what I want to say with this is it really helped me, because when I went to Romania and I did the course, I was able to speak with this sound and do it correctly, which is very important, okay? All right, so we're going to get right into the different sounds, and I would like you guys here to kind of make these sounds with me from home, okay? Just along with me when I say them, okay? So the first one I'm going to teach you is it's a front sound, but it's a more open sound, okay? This is not the Spanish sound, okay? The first one I'm going to teach you, it's not an sound, but it's an okay? So as you can see, my mouth is more open, okay? It's quite open, all right? And it's an sound, okay? My jaw is dropped, and I'm saying so it's a cat, okay? And I live in a flat, okay? It's not in American English, we wouldn't say flat, we would say flat, okay? And we would say cat, okay? Then the other sound is more similar to the Spanish sound, but not quite. It's the okay? It's the father, okay? So my father, okay? This sound is the back, all right? And it's also an open sound. So if you see I'm opening my mouth quite a bit, all right? But I'm not rounding it, all right? I'm just opening my mouth, all right? So we've got and These are 2 typical A sounds that we have, but keep in mind that these sounds can change depending on the word, all right? And that's something we can look at a bit later, because I'm going to challenge everyone. So I hope before we go to the next slide, you guys are pronouncing the opening your mouth big and wide when you say it, and the It's kind of, you see a different configuration of your mouth in a way. You see an and then you see an And so it's kind of you're opening it in different ways. All right. So the most common E sound, and this applies, I'm teaching you the sound that I make in American English is more of an eh sound, okay? It's not like the Spanish it's an eh, okay? So if I will say, I left the house yesterday at 2 p.m. to go down and buy some food, for example. I left the house. I didn't leave the house, I left the house, okay? This sound also changes depending on the accent, but in the American accent, we would say eh. Okay, it's an eh. As you see, it's an open mid sound. It's made at the front of your mouth. The position of your tongue is more in the front, and so you're saying eh. Okay, and my mouth is open quite a bit. All right, and I'm kind of, it's eh. Okay, so if you can say this one in your house, it's kind of. It's similar to the Spanish E, but it's more open than the Spanish E or the Spanish E. The Spanish would be E, and this is E. Okay. All right. So I guess I'm going to assume that you guys. I'm going to imagine I can hear you in your houses right now, just repeating one time after time, saying E, 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 E. All right. I'm trusting in you guys for this. All right. These next two sounds are quite important. I think these two sounds are probably the most confused sounds in general for most foreign language students who want to learn English, okay? And these sounds are the I and the E, okay? One of these you have in Spanish. You have the E, okay? The E is more of a closed sound. The E is the sound that you have at the front, okay? So you can feel the tongue kind of at the front of your mouth saying E, E. And you don't have to open your mouth so much to make it. You open your mouth up a bit more and you drop your jaw a little bit more and you make a slight I sound to say the first one, okay? So we have, the first example is chip with this I sound, all right? My jaw is just a bit further down than the Spanish E, so it's I, all right? And the other one is E, all right? So it's a bit higher when I say E, and it's a bit more closed, all right? So this is something to keep in mind when you're pronouncing these words. So the two words that I have here are commonly mispronounced, okay? So you've got chip, all right? It's like eating some chips, all right? Or you've got cheap. Was your new car cheap or was it expensive, okay? So this is an E. It's just like the Spanish E sound, all right? So I think it's really important to look at that little I sound, and to kind of repeat that sound, and I hope you guys are repeating it a lot over the weekend, okay? It's an I, so chip or ship, all right? You're gonna take the ship, or you live, okay? We wouldn't say leave. Leave is something different, so I live, all right? And we're gonna review this a bit later, all right? I'm gonna put you guys to the test, and I will ask for a volunteer a bit later, okay? Then we've got the basic O sounds, okay? And this again can differ depending on if it's American or British English, all right? The American English, if I were to say the word clock, I say ah. It's an ah sound, okay? It's very similar to the, it's like the sound that we would say in father, okay? It's clock, okay? But in British English, it would be much more rounded, okay? And when you can see on the, I'm going to show you guys here, on the chart, you've got all of these that I'm highlighting to the right, all right? All of these sounds are rounded, okay? And the ones to the left aren't rounded. In American English, we would say clock, okay, which is not rounded at all. But in British English, it would be more like a clock. And so they're round more. You can see that their lips come together and it's a rounded sound, okay? So that's kind of the big difference between American and British when we're making the short O sound, okay? Then there's the O sound, okay? Well, when we pronounce words like or, for, okay? Anymore, all right? So this is or. It's very, it's kind of similar to the Spanish O, but I would say I think it's kind of even more rounded in a way, but it's also more open. So it's rounded and it's more open. So you got or, all right? Okay, so I trust you guys are making these sounds in your houses now. And we'll continue. with the last basic vowel sound that we have here, which is the U, okay? So the U can take on several different phonemes, all right, several different vowel sounds, okay? And one of the most difficult sounds, I believe, for a lot of people is this sound, okay, which is similar. It's kind of right in the middle. It's a middle sound, all right? It's a central sound. It's a more open sound, but it's very much in the middle, okay? So it's so we have words like turn, turn, okay? 30, I'm 34 years old, okay? Turn, 30, and learn. How long have you been learning English, all right? In this case, we say learn, okay? Then we've got this sound is very, this is another one of those sounds that's mistaken a lot of times. This is a sound, okay? This sound is open, but it's in the back, okay? It's very all right? So it's, are you having fun, all right? I'm going out for a run. So you would never say fun, and you wouldn't say run, all right? You would say fun, okay, and run. Then we've got this, the next sound, and I actually use the example of bull, okay, because the symbol for the sound looks like a kind of like a bull, and so it's easy to remember in this case. If you see the symbol there, you see it looks like a kind of a bull with the horns there, and so that's why it's easy to remember words like bull. But you could also use it in words like foot. All right, he hurt his foot while he was playing football. Okay, so that's another example for you. And then the last main example of the letter U is U. Okay, so it's pretty much the same sound in Spanish. It can be a lot longer. And typically British English, the sounds are a lot longer. So, I mean, in the States it could be rule, and in British English it could be rule. It could be just a bit longer, okay? But it's still that same U sound, okay? Good. So we'll continue, and we're going to see these a bit later, all right? That's the important thing. So I hope you guys are doing your 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 and your U in the house, all right? So you guys can do these. All right, the next activity I want to do, I want to get a volunteer. Who would be able to volunteer for me? Who is willing to volunteer for me? Whoever is willing to volunteer, let me know in the chat, and I'll allow you, or you can unmute your microphone. Okay, so you can. Susana, perfect. Susana, your task right now. Okay, I have 5 different words here. Okay, and okay, I would like you to pronounce these words for me.
Banana.
Okay.
President.
Yeah, good.
Celebrate.
Yeah.
London.
Yeah.
Nature.
Almost perfect on all of them, okay? The last one, I would say nature.
Nature.
Nature, but the others were perfect. That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Susana.
Welcome.
That was great. So, as you could hear, Susana did very well with those, and she said banana, okay? She didn't say banana. She said banana, okay? She said celebrate. She said president. And she said London. And, well, we looked at together that you would say nature, okay? The things these all have in common is this famous phoneme that we have in English, which is a catch-all phoneme, which is right in the middle of the chart, and it's called the schwa, okay? The schwa is something that is unstressed in English, okay? So you see that in bold on these words I've written here, you can see that, for example, banana, I'm sorry, no, that's not what I wanted to say. You can see in bold what is being stressed, okay? So you've got okay? You've got the that's the stressed syllable in the word. So you have banana, okay? So we've got banana, all right? Then we've got these two are stressed, and celebrate, okay? So the is an unstressed sound. Again here, it's unstressed. These are stressed, and it's unstressed. And we can keep going down. So this is something that really keep in mind, that when we're pronouncing something, in I would say most of the cases in English, if it's something that's unstressed, it's going to take on the schwa sound, okay, which is an sound, okay, banana. All right, this is a sound that's very middle, it's very neutral, okay, and it's very short. All right, we saw before a sound that's very similar, just above us here, which is the sound, okay? It's more of a stressed schwa, all right? So it make this sound, okay? It's a bit longer, all right? And it's more stressed. We stress the sound more. So in words that we would say, like I said, fun or run, but also say some or love, these words take on this pronunciation. Whereas a schwa is always something that's kind of an unstressed, okay? Good. So to continue with this, I have something that I'm going to need another volunteer for, okay? And I want the volunteer to pronounce these two words that I'm highlighting here. Who will be my volunteer to pronounce these words? Do I have any? No? Nobody's, are you guys afraid of the pronunciation of these words? Well, okay. In this case, I'll pronounce them for you, okay? So we've got, okay, well, we do have a volunteer. Okay, Macarena, tell us. Can you unmute your microphone?
Hello.
Perfect. Okay, how do you pronounce these?
Off and off.
Perfect. Wow. You guys are great, eh? I have to say that my participants today are really great. All right, so Macarena actually did that very well. The first one, as she said, is of, okay? It's not off. And the second one is off, okay? It's a bit more open. So you have of, which is the schwa again, all right? It's of, all right? And then you have off, all right? Which is more open, longer, and it's this okay? This off sound, all right? This applies also when we're saying other prepositions, all right? Other prepositions and other articles, okay? This is where the schwa really, you're going to hear it a lot in English, especially in spoken English. And it's something I encourage you guys to implement yourselves. And this is something I have to correct a lot of students on. So not so much with of, well, of and off, yes, but not so much with to, maybe, because you can say to, but it's when we really want to stress the word to. I need to do this, or something like that, okay? So I need to see this person, you know, expressing that you really, it's your goal is to do something, all right? In this case, you would stress it, but in almost every other situation, you would say to, okay? It's a very, very short to, all right? So I want you guys to kind of practice that at home and start saying your to, because you'll be saying to more than you'll be saying to in most sentences, okay? I rarely use the word to unless I really want to accentuate it. When I was young, my father would get angry with me or one of my siblings, and if he would say something to us, sometimes he would accentuate every single word in the sentence, so we'd know that he wasn't very happy with us. So he would say, I need you to do this, you know, if he wanted us to clean our rooms or something, he would really accentuate. But that's not the common case, all right? And it's very important, going back to of and off, just thinking about it now, to pronounce this correctly, to not cause confusion, especially when we're talking about phrasal verbs, okay? You're thinking of someone, you're not thinking off someone. Think off doesn't really exist, but it sounds strange, all right? So make sure you're saying, I'm thinking of you. Well, we wouldn't say take, we could say take off, all right? The plane is taking off, okay? But we wouldn't say the plane is taking of, all right? So it's important to know the difference. But let's go to the next one, which is the indefinite article all right? Normally we don't say a, we say okay? So I have a pen in my hand. Oh, you guys can't see it, but I have a pen in my hand, all right? I have a pen. I'm giving a webinar, all right? Now, sometimes, very rarely, you would say a. Okay, I have to give a webinar tomorrow. But the most normal is for us to say a. So this article, the indefinite article, is always going to be a. All right, different to an. All right, which is when you need to follow something that starts with a vowel. You would say an, which is a. Okay, but this is a almost always. The same goes with the definite article the. Okay, so we say the. But then when we really, really want to stress something, we can say the. But I think for you guys, the most common thing that you're going to be saying is the, all right, when you're making sentences and you're talking to people. So, again, I want another volunteer. Hopefully I can get someone else who hasn't volunteered yet, or I can get a repeat volunteer, but I think there are plenty of you here to help out, to volunteer. And I have this sentence up here, okay? And I want you guys to, I want one of you guys, one fantastic volunteer, to read this sentence to me. Do I have anybody? You can raise your hand. Or
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
It's Alejandro.
Alejandro, thank you. Could you read this for me?
I would say we need to go to the store to pick up some toilet paper.
All right, good. Well, this is quite common these days, so that's why I put the example here, okay? But, well, what I would say here is you are very close, Alejandro, but what we need to say is we need to go, all right? Remember, we need to go to the store to pick up some toilet paper, okay? So if I was saying this really quickly, if I was speaking with my parents, I'd probably say, we need to go to the store to pick up some toilet paper. But obviously, I'm not going to speak like that to my students, all right? And you guys don't have to speak like that either. But it would be good, and to make you guys sound more natural. I don't want you to lose your accents, because, and this is something I stress to people a lot. I think accents are great, and they give us that's part of our identity. So I don't want people speaking perfect English, but the better your pronunciation is, the more people will take you seriously, or the more people will listen to what you're trying to say, you know, without getting rid of your accent, okay? So this is one thing I really suggest you all do is when you're saying articles or you're saying prepositions, to use the schwa, to barely pronounce that vowel sound, okay? So we need to go, all right? Good. So we'll continue moving along, all right, with diphthongs, okay? This is where we have some similarities in English and Spanish. The sounds are very similar, okay? So we have, for example, this first sound, which is I, all right? It's maybe not as long as the Spanish sound, because this, again, would be an I. It's a quick, it's one of those short I's that we have, this, okay? So it's I, all right? I, time, all right? And then we have A, okay? Like Spanish, it would be A, it would be longer, but English is A. Okay, so it's that short I at the end. It's A, I. Okay, so we've got I and time, late and play, as you see here. Now, when we make the O sound, my American O, which I've placed here, okay, I would say boat and no. But my British accent isn't perfect at all. I'm not very good at British English, but I really like their O sound. It's more. It's more drawn out, and it sounds really beautiful. I actually like their O better than our O, but it's an O. It's kind of longer. It's you're using the schwa and you're saying O. All right. So it's I don't know. I like it. It sounds more beautiful. All right. Then we've got ow. Okay, with sounds like owl and now. You might say, we've got the word no. All right, that has an OW sound. All right. But we're pronouncing it O, all right? But then we have the word below here, we've got now, okay, which we pronounce ow, okay? So usually when we've got these OWs, they're pronounced, well, I wouldn't say usually, even it's really memorizing the words, okay? But know that these are pronounced ow, now, and then we have the word no, okay? We also have the word row, all right? 3 in a row. So it's really good, and I encourage you guys to do this when you're learning new words, to look at dictionaries, especially British dictionaries, because the good American dictionary that we have doesn't use the IPA, and I think the IPA is fantastic. So I recommend using either the Oxford or the Cambridge dictionaries, where they show the IPA spelling of each word. You guys can actually listen to it. You can compare these. And that's like some homework that I want you guys to do, okay? Good. Then we've got okay? So you got a mix of the okay? And you got a mix of the So you got So you got where, share, there, all right? This sound you use a lot in English, okay? We've got ear, okay? Another mix with a schwa, all right? So we've got the ear, okay? So this is my ear, for example. Do you have any fears, all right? Is my explanation clear, for example, all right? Then we go to this o sound again with an I, so it's oi, okay? So we've got toy and oil, and this sound is pretty much almost exactly like the sound that you have in Spanish, okay? So this sound isn't going to cause any difficulties for you, all right? And then the last one, we got this this okay? But a lot of times it's even a triphthong because we pronounce it ia, okay? So a lot of times it's u. And so, for example, depending on where you're from, you might pronounce this pure or poor. Usually it's going to be pure, so it's going to be a triphthong, okay? And cure. All right. Now, I'm getting another volunteer, all right, to practice these diphthongs, and I have a little challenge, all right? So I want a different volunteer, if possible this time, to pronounce the 3 words that I have on the right side of the screen. I've got over here this word, and this word. Is anybody, can I get any volunteers to pronounce this sound? I'll give you time to think about it. Hi.
It's August, friend, since.
Perfect. Oh, I really have good students today. This is fantastic. I can't teach anything. You guys are you know it all. All right, good. So important to note here. This was August. Okay, August. All right, friend and since. Some of you might not struggle with these, but some people do struggle, especially with this AU sound. A lot of people want to pronounce it as an ow, all right, just like it is in Spanish, but it's never going to be an ow, all right? It's always going to be an ah, okay? And so we would say August in this case, okay? Depending on which part of the States you're from as well, you might say more August, kind of more of a rounded, or you might say it without being rounded, it might be August, okay? In my part of the States, we would say August. Which I'm from kind of the middle, so our pronunciation is a mixture of a lot of different things. Good. Friend, it's not friend, it's friend, okay? It's just one, it's not a diphthong. This is tricky because you might think it's a diphthong, and it isn't. It's just an okay? It's a friend. And the last one that can cause confusion, and we're going to look at this in a moment, is this example. This would be since, it's not going to be science, okay? A lot of times when we have words that end in an E, we make a long sound or we use a diphthong. But in this case, we say since, okay? All right, good. Then, I have one more question as part of the presentation, and then I'm going to kind of challenge you guys at the end, okay? So I need a volunteer for this one. I have 3 pictures. I'm not even going to write the words here, but I think you guys probably know what the words are from looking at it. So I want a volunteer to pronounce these 4 words for me. Who can I get to volunteer?
I can try.
Perfect.
Bear, beer, bear, and bird.
Almost perfect.
The third one
Thank
is,
you.
I was in doubt.
The third one is a bit complex, but yes, we would say, I'm going to show you here below, all right? We say bear, okay? You said that perfectly, okay? Beer, all right? That's the drink. Beard, okay? It's just like beer, so this is just like beer with a D at the end. It's beard. But then bird is this sound, it's kind of in the middle of this sound, okay? So we say bird, okay? This is the same sound that we would say third, okay? This is my 3rd time using this sound today, okay? Is something, is he 30 years old? is their house dirty or have they cleaned it? You know, something like that. These sounds come up a lot, and it can be an I or it can be a U. It could be turn. Okay, but these are probably I think in almost every English class I've ever taught in my life, my students have asked me to tell them the difference between these. So I really wanted to put it in my presentation today. Okay, all right. So I'm going to pull up the whiteboard here, all right? And we're going to do a little test with you guys, okay? So, can anybody pronounce this word for me? Who do I have to volunteer for this word? Think about it and get back to me. All right, Carmen, please. How would you pronounce it? Hello?
Little.
Little, good,
Little?
good.
Do you hear me?
Yes,
Little?
now I hear you. Perfect. Yes, very good. Yes, I would say little, and this would be spelled phonetically with this short I sound, okay? A T and an L. Very good. Thank you. All right. I gave another example just before of this one. Who can do this one for me? Lorena, please.
First.
First, good. And that symbol is the one that we were just looking at, okay? It's like, it looks like a 3, okay? And depending on if it's British or American English, it could be longer. If it's a longer sound, I would put this. If it's British English, it would be and it would actually be an ST, because in British English, they don't pronounce the R in these cases. They only pronounce the R when it's the beginning of a word, or before, let's say before a vowel, right? Not after a vowel. So this would be, in British English, it would be first. And me being an American, I would say, without the long sound, it would just be first, okay? Apologies for my writing. It's not very clear. All right, good. So we've got another word for you guys here. And I'm gonna get, hopefully, a good volunteer for this one. All right. Do I have a volunteer for this one? Perfect. Let me know.
Hi, can you hear me?
Perfectly, yes. Tell me.
Hungry?
Perfect, yes. Good. I really wish this was like a game show and I could give you guys prizes or something. That'd be more fun, but you guys have the prize of learning this and the satisfaction of being fantastic students. That will be your prize for today. All right, so yes, we would spell it this way. And at the end of this one, so we've got this sound, which is similar to the schwa, but it's a bit more open. It's ha, so it's hungry, okay? And the reason it's not a schwa is because this is stressed. I'm hungry, all right? And then at the end, we have the Spanish E, all right? So that's an easy sound for you guys, all right? All right, we'll do, I'm gonna erase these, okay? I don't know if you guys are taking notes, like in a classroom, or mental notes, I hope, but you're doing very good. I'm going to erase those, and we're going to do one more, okay? Well, I've already spelled it in the opposite way, but how would you pronounce this? Can I get anybody to pronounce this one? Looking at it in the phonetic spelling in this case. No? No volunteers for this one? Am I going to have to say it myself? All right, guys. Well,
Work.
Work. Yes. It's this sound. Okay. It's All right. So it's kind of more of a middle, and it's kind of it's more open than other sound. It's a mid-open sound. It's Okay. So that's the work. All right. Just one other quick tip, and then we're gonna finish. Okay. This is how we learn in the States. Okay, when we're children. All right. We have these words, for example. We're going to do here. time and dude. Okay, so we've got these words. Could I get anybody to read, if you can read my handwriting, could anybody read these 5 words for me? Got somebody there. Go ahead. I can hear something. Go ahead and read them for me if you'd like. Yes, perfect. Go ahead.
Late.
Yes.
Cold.
Oh,
See?
yeah. Yes.
Sorry.
No, continue, continue.
Okay. Time and
Yeah. Dude, yeah. Good. All right. So yeah, my R was bad. It actually looked like a C. So it could be code as well, but it looked like it didn't look like an R. I didn't write it correctly. But anyway, it was road, but we could say code as well. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Now, we're going to do something here. So if you notice all of these sounds, we did an A, okay? We did an O. We did in this case, it's more of an E, or it could be a long E, okay? All right. And then we did an I, all right? And then we did an oo, okay? So these are the sounds that it makes. There are always exceptions to the rules as well. But when you have an E at the end of something, these are the vowel sounds. We would call these long vowel sounds a lot of times, even though some of them are diphthongs, but these are longer sounds for us, and this is what we learned in school in the States. So late, road, or code, what it looked like before, Pete, time, and dude. Now, if I take off, all right, if I write the name, and there we go. If I write this, how would you pronounce it? Can I get one more person to pronounce for me? If you can read my writing. No? All right, I'll go ahead and go through them, all right, so we can start finishing. Ah, Lorena, perfect. Read them for me, please.
Lad, Rod,
Yeah?
Pete, team, dude.
Okay, it's the ones in black here. So yes, this would be lat, okay? And this is that strange sound that we have, which is this is kind of this very okay? This is open sound, it's very low, it's your jaw is dropping, it's okay? This lat, okay? Then we would say rod, okay? Your pronunciation, Lorena, is more British, okay? I think you're a British English student, all right? You said rod, okay, which is correct. I would probably, my American English would probably be more like one of these. It'd be a rod, okay? But rod is fine, okay? And we've got pet here, okay? I would say it with this sound, okay? A pet. Then we've got, be careful here, because this becomes, from time, it would go to Tim. Just a very short, this I, okay? That little short sound that's not the Spanish E, but it's a bit further down. It's I, okay? If you notice, E, I'm here, and then I kind of drop a little bit, I. And I have to kind of drop my jaw a little bit. It's a slight drop, and it's a bit further back in your mouth. It's I, okay? And the last one is all right? This is a dud, okay? Dude becomes dud. So this is what we're taught in the schools in the States, all right? Good. So guys, as I mentioned in the beginning, if you have any questions, let me know right now. And if not, I placed in the chat in the beginning a feedback form, and I would love to have your feedback. But before you do so, I'll stick around for a little bit in case you have any questions. So thank you guys very much. Remember, this weekend to kind of practice your pronunciation. Even I would suggest if you have a curiosity about a word, check it out in one of the dictionaries I mentioned. It would be a Cambridge or an Oxford dictionary, and kind of study up on those sounds that you heard. You can even find online. Yes, I'll send that link in 1 second. You can even find online different links where you can hear all of the different sounds of the IPA. Okay, so this is another recommendation. Or you can watch TV in English, or while you're watching a movie, you're listening to a song to kind of think, how did he say that? You know, you can do a lot of different things to practice your pronunciation, and really, sometimes it's a good idea to listen to one phrase and stop and listen, rewind, listen to it again, and keep repeating, and you can really hear something a lot better, and you kind of try to make those sound. Okay, so I'm going to put here again feedback form. If you guys could kindly fill that out, that would be fantastic. And thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate you guys participating, and I've enjoyed doing this webinar. So I hope to see you guys in my future webinars, okay? And I hope you guys go to the webinars of my colleagues, because a lot of my colleagues are going to be doing webinars in the future as well. And I think these are good ways to take advantage of your free time.